Good morning. Nice to have you guys with me. May 9th, 2025. We got some trades setting up here, boys and girls. Looking pretty good. We got into our short pound US dollar. I gave you a 15-minute short trade setup, which hit our target. Worked out to perfection. A lot of you took that trade. Glad to see you guys are joining in on these trades. Remember, this is not trading. I'm not advising you to take these trades, okay? You're taking them of your own will. I am not an advisor, so just remember that. This is for educational purposes only. If you decide to take those trades on your own accord, then so be it. All right? But I'm showing you what I'm trading. I'm showing you the trade signals that I'm locating, and I'm just sharing them with you. With that said, there's some new signals that we're watching for. And one of them is here up on the Aussie chart. Okay, we've been watching this one for some time. We contacted the monthly area of supply here. And from that monthly area of supply, we are now expecting price to drop. Okay, I have a target at 62.41. I think that's a good spot for price to drop to. And so now we're watching for the short signal to take place on the daily chart. Now, what is that short signal? Well, let me open up this chart and I'll show you. Here's the daily chart and the monthly area of supply comes across the top here. Okay, just like that. And as you can see, we've already contacted that monthly supply here. But at the time, the RSI was pretty aggressive, well over 60. We have since seen a drop in the RSI, which is exactly what we wanted to see. All right, RSI is now at 53. And now we're watching for another rally up, producing an RSI of around 60, and then a pause and start to move down, and that is going to be our short signal. It may take 2 pushes up before we get that. It may go up, down, and one more time before we get that. I don't know. We'll be watching the RSI. There's a very good chance it's going to be this next rally up. All right. So that's basically what I'm watching for the short signal on the Aussie. So that's looking pretty good, setting up quite nicely. I was also looking at the Aussie CAD. Contacting some weekly supply here. And signal would have been on the 4-hour time frame. We had a couple rallies here which produced a strong RSI. This drop, though, was extremely strong, which brought RSI pretty low. And on the rally, we never got close to 60. I would have preferred to see it rally up towards 60 before dropping. When it comes down and it falls in the middle here between the 40 and 60, it's not a very strong signal any longer. Could it drop from here? Sure. But it's not the type of signal that I was watching for. I was looking also at the Aussie Japanese yen hitting the daily here, daily supply area. I was also looking at the 4-hour time frame. RSI very aggressive here, came into institutional demand, rallied from it. Okay, RSI is now a bit weaker. So if we get a drop and another rally, bringing RSI to 40, we could get a short signal there as well for a move to the downside. Not my favorite setup, this one. I do prefer the Aussie US dollar a lot more. All right, something to think about. The euro, that ascending trend line, nice. Okay, you see that ascending trend line on the daily chart breaking. I told you this was going to act as resistance for some time, and it finally broke, as you can see. Look at that strong move to the downside, and but I'd like to see if it closes on the opposing side of this. If it does, that's a good sign, and then we can expect over time for price to continue lower. I don't have a short signal here on this one. It's not my favorite chart to trade. We just recently contacted a 4-hour area of demand, which is causing price to rally up slightly, which is, completely understandable too. If you take a look at the RSI here, it's also a very good indication of when to expect moves to the upside within a down move, okay? Because we went from here to well under 40. At some point, it's got to pull back up in order for it to be able to go back down again. So as I was mentioning in the post that I made on the Telegram channel, RSI is a very good indication of what to expect in the overall picture of price. So for instance, we're in short the pound US dollar, and if you take a look at this move on the pound, right, nice move to the downside. We still got targets here at 130. And you look at the RSI, okay, it came down to 40. It needs some relief from the selling, okay? But we expect short-term relief before a continued move to the downside, right? Because when you put things into context and you look at the daily chart, look at where we are in the RSI, okay? Still up there by the 60s, okay, which tells me that after the 4-hour chart does its little rally, when it continues to the downside, it's got a lot of momentum that can really kick into gear. And so this is why we have our targets here at 130.61, and suspect that that will easily be contacted probably next week. Okay. We could see, I mean, we still have a lot of time for the rest of the day. We could see a move to the downside form today, maybe even break through the daily area of demand. That's possible. But I think it's probably more likely that we'll hit this target next week at some point. US CAD might be a trade to the upside. I'm watching for a pullback, and then I'm looking for that long signal. This could work out. It could work out not because of the chart and what we see so much, but because of what we're expecting from the US dollar. Okay. If I come up to the US dollar here, you can see it's pretty much the same formation that we're seeing on the US Swiss franc, for instance. If I go to the US Swiss franc, you can see, all right, we got our long signal down here. Technically, we have our long signal already in play. But if I was to trade it based on the long signal on the daily chart, the risk to reward ratio is 2.82, which is not, for me, good enough. I like something higher. So I'm watching for a pullback into this area here, and then I'll be watching for the long signal from there. So give or take, I don't know what the risk to reward will be on that trade because I'll have to watch what is formed. But, if I was to just take a trade blindly off of that area and and price was to rally from it, you're looking at a risk reward of 4.31, which is much better than, 2.82. But it could actually be even better than this when I actually get the signal that I'm watching for, okay? I think it's possible that it could rally up to the weekly target, and if it was to, take a look. You're looking at a risk to reward ratio of 10.62 as opposed to 2.82, okay? So as you can see, a lot better. So watching for that, I think that might set up today. I think there's a good chance of that to set up. And US dollar, Japanese yen. I'll take any questions that you have after this one. US dollar, Japanese yen, long signal was here, back here. We have our targets up here. And let's see, weekly target. Yeah, just about up here. Yeah. So price is coming down into the 4-hour area of demand. At this point, I'm going to bring it down to the 15-minute chart and take a look at the long signal. And we're coming in, and we're at 40 right now, give or take, around 40. Yeah. So I'll watch for a bullish engulfing um, type of candle formation here. And then once we get that, that'll be the signal to enter into long with my stop below the lows. All right. Okay. Again, the reason why I would ever use RSI as a signal to get into a trade is because it's taking place at an institutional demand zone. I wouldn't just trade RSI blindly without knowing institutional buying or selling was taking place. Okay. What's amazing about the RSI is that when you combine it with institutional supply and demand, when price comes into a demand zone, you can see the buying taking place, not only with the candlestick formations, but the buying pressure coming into place looking at the RSI. It's pretty remarkable how the two work hand in hand together like that. All right, so that's what I'm watching for. A bunch of questions I see. Let me try to get to them. What happened to NQ at 7:26 time frame, 1 minute? I'm not sure. I wasn't looking at NQ this morning. At 7:26 time frame, 1 minute. I don't look at the 1 minute time frame. It's way too small. You stopped showing the COT data. No, not for members. I haven't. Every Monday we do a 1 hour session looking at the COT data. I haven't done a YouTube video. I've just been busy. I've just been busy. If you want to get the COT data and you want it every single week, then become a member. My priority is for my members. Okay. And I've just been extremely busy. I haven't had the time on the weekends. It's warmer weather. It's summertime. There's a lot of gardening I have to do. All the snow's melted, so there's a lot of work. I have a huge property with many gardens, and I'm primarily the only person doing the work outside. So I got gardening to do and a lot of upkeep. So that's the type of stuff that keeps me busy on the weekends. So I don't have that much time to do YouTube videos. I'll try to find some time to get some YouTube videos done again for you guys because I know you guys do enjoy them. Pound US dollar, already did that and implemented the RSI instead. No, RSI has been a new thing that I've implemented because it's been extremely powerful when combined with the supply and demand analysis. I'm just testing out a system, all right, using logic and some of the concepts and principles that we teach here at the school. Combined with supply and demand, I'm just testing out a new system, and I'm so far been extremely satisfied with the results and been making good trades with it. All right, so much so that I started a family cruise fund. I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm going to start testing this new system that I'm creating here using the RSI, combining it with supply and demand analysis, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work out very well. In fact, I'm extremely excited about it. So much so that, I'm only going to risk a small amount, but why don't we make this fun? Why don't I, raise money for a family cruise this coming winter? And, something exciting to do. And so I did that. I launched that family cruise fund. And so far we're at about 2,000 Canadian, taking maybe, 5 trades so far, including the pound US dollar that I'm in now, and risking very little, between $150 and $300. So, it's been very successful so far. And I'm in the testing phase. All right. I'm in the testing phase. This is not like I've worked it all out and have solid data. I'm using concepts and principles that I have worked on over many, many years that are working extremely well for supply and demand. And I'm implementing those concepts and principles within this idea of using the RSI as an indication of institutional buying or selling at institutional buying and selling zones on a higher time frame. and it's just been extremely successful. So doing really well with that. Do you use fundamental analysis, macroeconomics in your trading, sir? Not really. No. Look, the way I look at it is nobody understands that better than the institutions. So I'm not going to try to outsmart them and come up with my own analysis. I'm just going to jump on their backs and ride the waves that they create. Okay, they are the ones that move the market, so I'm just going to follow what they do, plain and simple. Um, all right, I lost my my spot here. What old format are you speaking of, sir? Bitcoin, what do you see? Karosh, nothing different than what I mentioned yesterday. Why you stop talking about caught data every week? We learn from you, sir. Well, it's coming. It's coming. Just be patient. Thanks for explaining in regards to RSI. Still enjoyed your caught breakdowns. Yeah, you'll still get some. And if you want more, like I said, join the school, right? How long have I been feeding you and giving you information for free, right? Think about that. If you want to support me, like I've been supporting you, come and join the school. What do you think about daily supply on the Bitcoin? Yeah, we're coming into daily supply that's been tested several times before. So it could easily break through once it gets there. Thoughts on your Ethereum? I don't trade it. Thoughts on gold too? Gold, last it hit daily demand, rallied up, couldn't take out new highs, couldn't take out the previous highs. RSI on this last rally is showing the buying pressure is not nearly as strong as it was previously. So we could start seeing price die down. If this daily demand zone gets removed and another rally, that could be exactly what's required to get price down to the 3,000 area. Okay. That is what I am seeing. Okay, folks. Beautiful. I enjoyed this time together with you. And arrivederci until next time. If I have some time this weekend, I will get you some CFTC analysis. And if you want to support me like I've been supporting you, come and join the school. You can get a basic membership. Okay, it's not that expensive. It's up to you. All right, folks. You take care of yourself. Have yourself a good evening and good weekend. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.